All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's UW System Career Trek, which is featuring Rockwell Automation and hosted by the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Students, faculty, staff, my fellow career services colleagues, we're also thankful that you took some time out of your day today to learn a little bit about Rockwell. Before we get started, I want to point out to students, and this will be posted in the chat, that there is an official registration form that is very brief that we would really appreciate if you would complete that. And I will post that link multiple times during the session in case somebody is jumping on a little bit later. Another thing I wanted to be sure to post or mention very quickly is that if you would like to check out the official website for the UW System Career Treks and learn a little bit more about the companies that have participated in the past and actually review the sessions that they recorded, you are very welcome to do so. The Career Treks initiative was launched in fall of 2020. So we are starting our second year of the Career Treks, and all of the UW system schools are participating in it. So you have an opportunity during this semester to see 13 different organizations present about who they are and potential opportunities that they have. And each session, each Trek session, I should say, is hosted by another UW system school. So if you're interested in finding out which section for the Treks is coming up next week on Wednesday, September 22nd, Haribo is going to be featured. And if you can think of those fun little gummy candies, our friends at UW Parkside are going to be hosting that session. One thing to not announce before I turn this over to Sarah is that we're going to have two quick poll questions. And this is going to allow our colleagues and friends over at Rockwell see who is joining us for today. And students, if you have questions during the trek, please feel free to post those in the chat. Once our friends at Rockwell are finished with their presentation, we can definitely launch into a Q&A, and I will be sure that your questions are asked of the participants. So with that, thank you so much again for participating today, and have a great time learning a little bit more about Rockwell. And at this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and invite Sarah Hester to share her screen. Sarah, welcome to you and your colleagues from Rockwell. Sarah is a campus recruiter for Rockwell Automation and is going to get the trek kicked off.
Hello, it's so nice to see everybody, even in this virtual environment. My name is Sarah Hester. I am a campus recruiter from Rockwell Automation on the global campus recruiting team, and just really excited to be here. I brought several people with me that want to share their experiences, answer all of your questions. Really, we're here today to tell you a little bit about Rockwell Automation and then help give you some insights into what we do, what we're looking for in our roles, or how to be successful here at Rockwell. So we want to make this all about you guys. Feel free to put as many questions as you can and want to in the chat. We look forward to answering them. We'll give a short overview about Rockwell Automation and what we do, and then turn it over to the panelists that I've brought with me today to talk about their experiences and to answer all of your questions. They'll introduce themselves here later in the presentation, but I do have Chelsea. She's in our supply chain. She's got a great insight into the business side of our organization. Omar is here. He's actually in our sales training program. We've got Brittany, who's an embedded engineering manager. John is in our services business, and Leanna is a project manager in our solutions business. So a great wide range of alumni here to talk with you guys today. So we are looking forward to it. We'll jump into our presentation and then let our panelists chime in here at the end. But thank you everyone for being here. So Rockwell Automation is an automation manufacturing company. Our strategy is really to bring that connected enterprise to life, integrate control and information across the enterprise, We're in over 100 companies. We're all across the nation and really just touching a lot of different places. But our competitive advantage is that really automation is our sole focus. We are really able to narrow in on that so that we can help the companies that we work with do better in their spaces. So really ensuring that their manufacturing plants and all the systems that they're utilizing are safe, efficient, sustainable, and just really cost effective. So really making an impact in a lot of different places. And I know I was really impressed when I joined Rockwell about just how many places we're in. We are all across the board. And I think diversification has really helped us, especially in 2020, continue to pivot and stay relevant when, an entire manufacturing world shut down. We're still feeling the effects of that. And I know Chelsea can talk to that a little bit later. But having all these different industries really allowed us to pivot and to continue to be successful and really thrive over the last 2 years. So we are in oil and gas, we're in plastics, we are in automotive, we're in agriculture, we're in entertainment, food and beverage, working with companies like Tesla, Nabisco, Kellogg, even Universal Studios and Disney. So there's a lot of big names that we are able to partner with and really help them work very efficiently. We are actually, in 2020, we're able to pivot and help the manufacturing plants that built the N93 masks. And then we're also helping those factories that are building the COVID vaccine. So some really relevant things for our current day and just helping all of these companies do their best work. One of the ways we do that is through the Internet of Things. So the Internet of Things has really changed how we interact with the world. Smart devices with Bluetooth enabled sensors. I mean, they're in everything from the devices that we wear to our washers and dryers, our toothbrush, but they allow us to gather all sorts of information. And now that the Internet of Things is making a really profound impact on the modern day, Rockwell Automation enables manufacturers to take full advantage of that. So if you think of like an Oreo cookie plant, they have plants all across the US. And as a manager, you want to be able to see all that plant at any given time and be able to see, what it's doing and the data, how efficient that plant is working. Were there any things that needed to be troubleshoot? Was there downtime for that day? So all that information can help people make really timely decisions and understand their business. So those are some of the things that we're helping to do, and we have a big use of the Internet of Things. But talking a little bit more about Rockwell, I want to talk a little bit about our mission because it's really important to us and helps us really center around the things that we do. So like I said, our mission is to integrate information across the enterprise and help industrial companies and their people be more productive and sustainable. I think that's very relevant for the world that we're in today as we're realizing the impact that we have on people and the planet. And so how are we utilizing big companies to be able to make those changes? And I think that's really at the forefront of part of Rockwell's mission, thinking about all the complexities that are there. So there are 4 pillars to our values. We're really committed to diversity and inclusion, just allowing a place that everybody can show up, can share their ideas, and that all those ideas have a place. We also really want to compare ourselves to the best. We know there are a lot of smart people out there, a lot of smart companies, and we want to be the best. We want to be able to provide the best solutions, be doing our best work, be producing the best work. And so how are we continuing to not just say, are we doing good, within Rockwell, but what are some of the top companies out there or the top ways that things are being done, and how can we measure ourselves by that? We also want to increase the speed of decision making. The world moves very fast, and we need to be able to fail quickly and get results quickly. So how do we develop our employees to make those rapid decisions and to take chances and to be able to really help out the customer in that best way and not allow things to drag. So I am really excited about that one. I know I have a bias for action and love just being empowered to move quickly so that we can continue to innovate. And then to have that steady stream of fresh ideas. We want people of all levels to be having that diversity of thought and input into the company. Rockwell is definitely a place where you can grow your career. We have people that are retiring with the company after 20, 30, 40 years, but we also need those of you that are still in college, that are graduating as interns and new grads to come in and use technology that somebody 40 years ago didn't even exist and so maybe hasn't used. And I hear from hiring managers all the time that they want all the new tools that you all are learning to bring them into the company. So I love that we empower people on both sides to really utilize what's out there. I think all these pillars kind of interconnect with each other and continue to allow Rockwell to innovate. Something that I didn't include in our slideshow today, but just a little bit of the history of the company. We've been around for over 100 years and have gone through several different generations of innovation. And so we understand that to stay relevant and to stay as one of the top companies and really relevant to our customers, that we need to continue to innovate. And so I think these pillars really help to move that forward and will help Rockwell continue for hopefully another 100 years, if not longer. So now that we've talked about our values, a few resources that we have in the company that I just think are really cool and are making a big impact that I wanted to highlight are our ERGs, our employee resource groups. So hopefully if you decide to join Rockwell or are able to work with us in some sort of way down the road, we've got lots of things that you can get involved in. We've got our a SWE group, we've got Rock Out, we've got a Latinos professional group, we even have a young professionals group to really help you navigate that early area of your career and get some advice. But these different groups drive a lot of programming within Rockwell. We're constantly tapping into them to learn more about how Rockwell can be that diverse and inclusive place to all the way from things from organizing different months to highlight or activities that we could participate in to how we can impact our community in the areas that we are physically in. We do a lot of work since we're headquartered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with our Milwaukee communities. And these employee resource groups can really help us not only locally, but also as that global company to help everyone feel included and drive representation and just knowledge about all of the different types of people that we have in our company. So I just love highlighting those as a great resource and as a really important part of the work that we're doing here. So that's a lot about Rockwell. I briefly wanted to go over some of the opportunities that we have now that you know how cool the company it is. You're like, how do I get in here? So we have a fantastic intern and new grad program. It's branded Edge. We want you to expand, discover, grow, and excel. So find your edge within the company. But our programs are really designed to help you jumpstart your career, whether that's in an internship, maybe it's your first one, getting that professional experience, or maybe you are joining us in one of our rotational programs. We want to help you understand what Rockwell does, get a taste for Rockwell products, and then grow your leadership within the company and within yourself as well. So our programs really build that great foundation. They'll expand your network and help you continue to learn. So we have 3 different types of programs within Rockwell. We've got our internships, which are those typical summer opportunities. We have co-ops that are either a semester or a semester and a summer. And then we also have our full-time rotational programs. And these can be, in so many different locations. Like I said, we're headquartered in Milwaukee, but we also have our main offices are in like Mayfield Heights, Ohio. And then we've got different plants and sales and field offices all across the US. So to talk a little bit more about our student experiences. So if you're looking for an internship, we've got them all across the board, everything from finance to sales to supply chain to software development. But you will definitely have a great experience while you're here. We've got a great first day orientation to help get you set up, get you established at Rockwell. We also have a career week where you can learn more about the different opportunities with Rockwell, get connected with some of the hiring managers for those opportunities, really learn how you can grow your career here. And then we'll also connect you with senior leaders. You'll have mentorship. We do social events. There are challenges to get involved with. So on top of just working on a project with a team and getting that professional experience, lots of things to be involved with and make some great connections. And the other thing is that we have been able to transition through the last few years. We went fully virtual in the summer of 2020. And this last year, we were mostly virtual, but we did have a few people on location. We hope to be this in person this summer as everyone is hopefully getting back to normal. But I just really appreciated that Rockwell had a commitment to its intern and new grad program and that found ways to pivot. And as all of our employees transitioned to remote, we transitioned our internship program remotely, and it was very successful. So you may have been asking, what are rotational programs? So this is our leadership development program that we have established within Rockwell. It's very well respected in the company. People know the types of leaders that come out of it, the knowledge base that comes along with it. But they are 2 to 3 year program rotations where you would do rotate through a specific business unit. So you really get to understand all the different products that business unit is creating, how they all function together. You get to try different things and really just have that breadth of knowledge as you establish your career. We also have a couple training programs. We have a sales training program I believe actually EIT is under that as well. But these are really there to help you learn all the basics before you head out into the field. And I know Omar can speak to that a little bit more as he's actually in that program right now. But these really help you understand where you want to go within the company. Like I said, you get such a broad understanding of what we do and how everything connects together. We will develop you as that leader, so give you a lot of outside kind of trainings, whether that's conferences or development meetings. You have a really unique experience that's going to be fostered by the company over that 2-year span. And you're going to get a lot of really robust projects. So you'll actually be integrated with teams along the way and get to receive that mentorship and help the team work through whatever is on its roadmap for that period of time. And then after you exit the program, we find a permanent team for you and you continue within your journey within Rockwell. A lot of people go on to be managers down the road in their careers or just leaders within Rockwell. And like I said, a lot of teams, when they are looking for somebody to join their team, they do ask, are there any people from the rotational programs that are recently graduated? Because they know the value that those people bring. So just kind of a high level overview of what we're looking for. And I know my panel is happy to speak to what they see in an intern and new grad candidates. Overall, we've got a couple basic qualifications. The first one of that just being a GPA of 2.75 or above. We also are unable to provide any sponsorship, so that US citizenship in some way, shape, or form is important. And we do look for those that have previous experience. And experience can come in a lot of different ways. That could be an internship. It could be a project that you did that served your community. It could be personal projects. There's just a lot of different ways that experience can come. And at Rockwell, we know and we want that variety of backgrounds. And so happy to look at the many different ways that you can really apply and refine your skills outside of the classroom. We also want to see that you're involved. Like I said, Rockwell is really involved in its community, and we want people that are going to be involved in their teams and be involved in Rockwell and their communities. So we like to see that leadership or involvement kind of demonstrated. Then also, I would say the more location flexible you can be, the better we can match you up with projects that really fit your interest. Like I said, we've got a lot of different locations, and we want to put you on the best project work. And so having that location flexibility is just really, is going to benefit you in the end. And just a few attributes, like we're looking for leaders, people who are passionate, people of that strong work ethic that are going to come in and help the environment that they land in. Somebody who really likes to learn. Like I said, we want to develop you. So we want people who want to take on more. And then just that adaptability. There's so many directions you can go within Rockwell, that having that adaptability and flexibility can really help you push forward in your career. So, if you are interested after today's presentation, we would love for you to check out our website, Rockwell's Early Career Student page, where all of our early career positions are posted. We've got lots of job descriptions up there. The first step is to complete that online application, but we love that you visited us today. Maybe you'll see us at a career fair, but hopefully you're able to chat with the panelists and hear a little bit more about their experiences and what it's like to be at Rockwell, and that piques your interest and makes you want to learn more and join us this summer or down the road. So thank you. We're going to head into our Q&A panel session now, but I want to take a moment to introduce the panelists that I've brought with me today. And I'm just going to go across my screen, and they're going to introduce their name, what business unit they're from, and then how they transitioned from college to their professional journey. So Omar, we'll actually start with you because you're at the top of my screen. So we'll let you take it away.
Sounds great. Thanks for that presentation. For me, I graduated back in May from Ohio State with an industrial engineering degree, and I started in Rockwell working part of the July sales training program as an account manager, and began and have been with the company since then. And overall, with the program starts, it's been great. And so for the transition, it's been a great introduction to get me acclimated to Rockwell and really understand who to reach out to and kind of how to develop myself into a great early professional. And I would highly recommend a lot of our rotational programs, the Edge, and also training programs. And I'm happy that all of you are here to attend. So thank you.
Thank you. Chelsea, we'll bounce over to you.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Chelsea Leibacki-Dushinsky. I am the International Transportation Manager with our logistics organization under our integrated supply chain. I graduated from UW Milwaukee in 2013. I held my bachelor's in economics and international studies. I actually started my career on the trade compliance side of the house, which is I more recently pivoted to the international logistics space. And the way I kind of went about that is I had an internship with the U.S. Department of Commerce. They were somebody that in Milwaukee was local to UWM. So I got to work there as an intern, which helped me get to the compliance space and then subsequently into, again, the logistics space. So looking forward to your questions, and thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you. John?
Everyone, I'm John Joke. I was a mechanical engineer and currently am an enterprise customer success manager. And I joined, or I guess coming out of school, I came out right around when the Great Recession was, kind of on the front end, the first couple of years of it. So there's a lot of job searching early on, but I found a job as a field engineer with a small consulting firm outside of Milwaukee. I went to the University of Wisconsin. And then from there, kind of grew my career, and eventually that company was acquired by Rockwell. So I joined Rockwell through an acquisition. The transition into the professional world was not too difficult. School had prepared me pretty well for it, but it was a lot of just understanding how to talk professionally with people and interacting in meetings and stuff like that.
Thank you. Brittany?
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany. I'm an alumni of UW Milwaukee. I graduated with my electrical engineering degree. I'm currently one of the firmware team leads for our drives business. And that's actually located in our Mequon, Wisconsin plant, actually. So I actually interned beforehand at Rockwell before I joined Rockwell full time. So I was an intern, funny enough, in the same department that I'm in now. And yeah, that really like set the groundwork for like job searching. I ended up selecting like Rockwell to start the full time, not only because the people are really genuinely great at this company. I haven't had that experience anywhere else yet. So just everyone you meet is like very helpful and like wanting to see you grow. And yeah, I joined it was called Leadership Development Program at the time, where it's a program that Sarah briefly mentioned. Yeah, you go through 4 different roles in 2 years. It has a little bit of a different name now, but still an awesome opportunity. And yeah, that leads me to where I am today. Looking forward to questions.
Yeah, we love converting our former interns and bringing them back year over year. We've even had some interns that have been with us for like 4 years and then go full time. It's just really exciting to see people grow at the company. So thank you. And then lastly, Leanna.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Leanna. Really excited to chat with you all today. So similar to Brittany, I attended one of the UW schools, UW Milwaukee. I have a mechanical engineering degree, and I was an intern at Rockwell for quite a while and then transitioned to a full-time role. So I was an application engineering intern. I think one thing that's kind of cool about Rockwell and application engineering is that even though my degree is in mechanical, I use and needed to learn a lot of the electrical side of things. So I think that was really cool. I did do one short stint in Shanghai, China. So while I was an intern, I was sent overseas to kind of learn the international side of the product. But at the end of my 3-year internship, I was hired on as an application engineer. And then in my most recent role, became the application engineering team lead. That did end last week. I'm transitioning to a project management role, but it was a really good experience. And I think, you can learn a lot in app engineering. And I think in a nutshell, that's me. So again, looking forward to talking with you all.
Well, thank you. We will go ahead and turn it over to all of you. What questions do you have for our panel? Julie, were any questions chatted in?
We're waiting for some questions to come in right now, but one question that I have had students bring up in the past is if they look on Rockwell's website and they see maybe 2 or 3 different positions that they might be interested in terms of an internship, Should they apply for all 3 different positions? Should they only apply for 1 position? What's your recommendation that way?
That's a great question. I do recommend that people read over the job descriptions. We do work hard to put a summary, at least. We can't put all the details in there. And then some information at the bottom about what types of programs you'll use or what types of programs would be good to know before you are headed into this role. But apply to the ones that you feel would be the best fit for you. You can apply to multiple. I think I would probably recommend no more than 2 or 3 because we do, we're going to see all of them, and then it sparks a conversation of like, well, which one do you want to move forward? And so I would really narrow it down at that application phase. And then what we'll do on our end is we'll move forward with the one that we think you're a best fit for first. And then if that doesn't work out, we can always pivot to another role. But even if you didn't apply for something, like I, as a recruiter, if I see, wow, they actually would be a really great fit for this role, I do try and take the initiative to bring that up and help you navigate. But that's really my job, is to help you navigate Rockwell and all of the different opportunities that we have.
Great, thank you. And students and anybody that's participating today, please feel free to ask questions. We've got a great panel of Rockwell representatives here and some friendly faces that I previously worked for. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Leanna. And, I think this is a great opportunity to learn from people who are in the shoes that you are in right now, who are willing to kind of share their ideas, their experiences to help you get a better feel for Rockwell and where you may best fit into Rockwell. Another question is, when students see opportunities posted on the Rockwell website, and then they also see that Rockwell is going to be at one of their campus career fairs, how should they proceed with an application? Should they apply prior to going to the career fair? Should they wait until they talk with a representative at the career fair? Do you have any advice that way?
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways to approach it. One, if you know exactly what role you want. So I would always encourage you before you go to a career fair to look at the website and to see what types of roles are available. I think that'll also help you have a really productive conversation at a career fair. So if you see, there was a hardware engineering internship, that's the one I want, then go ahead and apply for it. I think that really helps speed things up on our end, because at the end of the conversation, we're going to tell you to apply. If you see several and you are like, well, I'm not sure if I want this, or like, what is an application engineer, or what is a business process improvement engineer? I have a few questions about where I would fit in. Then bring those questions, and that would be a great starting place for that conversation. Then I can help explain them to you, say, you've taken these classes, I think this would be a great fit. And then at the end of that, you can go home and apply. So it just kind of depends on where you're at and what you're looking for.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sarah. 2 questions that have come in that are slightly similar. The question came in, when should students apply for an internship or co-op? And then the other one that's related, and I think ties in with what an answer could be very well, is how many years of college should we have before we apply for an internship? So I don't know if, Sarah, if you want to tackle that, or if some of the panelists want to tackle that from their own experience.
I'll chime in, and then Omar, I'd love to get your perspective too, as you actually have applied for things. I would say the recruiting season does kick off around September 1st. And so the peak of the recruiting season is really September and October. We do recruit all the way through March, and we're hiring all the way through March. So don't feel like you've missed out on something already, but I would apply as soon as possible. We are actively going through resumes and getting people in the process. I think the earlier you apply, the more options that you'll have. The later you apply, we just will have filled some roles, and so naturally those won't be available anymore. So that's when to apply. And then level of experience. And so also a great question. I think we're really looking for, do you have the basic knowledge set to be able to do this role and to jump in at a level where we can ramp you up on Rockwell, but don't necessarily need to teach you the basics of like that function. So for example, software developers, it's just really great to have taken data structures and algorithms. And you know, if this is your first semester, probably not enrolled in that yet, and that's okay. There's other ways to be practicing and gaining experience and to be involved in your university. So start building up all those things. Getting involved in clubs, doing hackathons, community projects, just really navigating what you want to do in your career. So really it's about, have you taken those things, and whether you take that your freshman or your junior year, like I don't think it's necessarily about year in school, but what have you been able to accomplish? So Omar, or maybe Brittany, or anyone else who's kind of managed and hired, I'll let you guys jump into.
Yeah, you hit a lot on some great points. And for me, at least, previous internships, I've applied both in the fall term, early in the fall semester, and early in the spring semester. And it just varies. For us, we recruit during those times and throughout the year. So feel free to keep an eye out of what interests you. But I would definitely highly recommend the earlier the better, especially to give you an opportunity to figure out what you want to do and have a better idea and grasp. So if there's an opportunity that interests you, I would highly recommend to apply for it as early as you can.
And could I just add on to that? I would say don't rule yourself out, right? If you're a freshman and you're thinking, oh, I'm only a freshman, I've only taken math and a couple of classes, I'm not qualified. Don't rule yourself out quite yet. I would say go to the career fair, ask questions, see if you're interested. I will be honest, maybe your internship isn't your dream internship. Maybe it's not the ultimate epitome of what you want to do with your career, but it's a foot in the door. And if you like the company, you can move from there. So I would just say agree, earlier the better. If you're a freshman and you're sitting here thinking, oh, I'm way too young, don't rule yourself out. You could very well be qualified, and hey, there's problem solving that you do in the real world and with your friends, with your family. You don't necessarily just have to problem solve in school.
I was actually just working with somebody this summer who has just really been interested in like hardware engineering and doing all that like electrical circuit board work, but hadn't been given the opportunity yet, and had really done a lot of internships in like data or maybe that more software background. And this last summer here at Rockwell, she networked like crazy. She made so many connections, and people were so impressed that there were multiple managers who were really interested in her for the exact role that she wanted. And it took her a couple of years at Rockwell, and it took her a couple of years in school, but I would highly encourage you, like an internship is an internship, and you can continue to work your way into the role that you're looking for. So, utilize your time when you are with companies to continue to network and build relationships, because you never know where it might take you.
Great advice, everybody. Thank you so much. Another question that has popped into the chat was the degree you graduated with your first choice, or did you switch majors at some point in your education?
I can go first. Yeah, I switched. Yeah, when I first started, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I actually started in like health sciences because I just knew I wanted to help people. So that's in some capacity. So I thought that was the route. But then I took like one engineering class on a whim and just fell in love with electrical engineering. And I just thought it was like very cool and whatnot. So yeah, then I stayed with electrical. So once I switched, I was good, and yeah, finished it out.
And then for me, I actually started civil, switched to mechanical, and then ended up finishing with a degree in industrial engineering. And for me, it's once I realized and graduated into my training program, I was in a diverse class of many different people in the training program with different backgrounds, from chemical engineering to electrical to biomedical. And it was interesting to see that, what people learn in their degree isn't necessarily exactly what they're going to have to do. So, so depending on what degree you have, feel free to branch out outside of that. And for me, as an industrial engineer, I'm in technical sales. And so don't feel that you have to, if you're a mechanical engineer, you have to go into a mechanical engineering role and vice versa. So that's kind of some of my 2 cents I'd give.
And so Omar and Brittany switched. I'm a little different. I didn't switch. I just chose mechanical and I stuck with mechanical. But what I liked about mechanical is that it is fairly broad. Right? If you wanted to go into thermodynamics, that's mechanical engineering, flow and think also mechanical. But here I am in power electronics, which also has a mechanical aspect to it as well. So I didn't switch, but I think mechanical engineering and a lot of the engineering disciplines have some crossover, right? But I picked one that was a little bit broad because I was unsure going into university what exactly I wanted to do.
I'll go. I know I'm on the logistics side of the house. I actually started in global studies at UW Milwaukee, and just as some of the things in my personal life kind of came into it, I pivoted to the international studies. But largely speaking, I think what I looked at is that really made sense to still get the credits that I had from my global studies program and be able to transition that into a degree that was still very fulfilling for me, but didn't set me personally back a ton in terms of how long I had to go into school yet.
Throw my 2 cents into, I'm more like Leanna. I didn't know what I was going to do going right into college, chose mechanical engineering, and loved it. So I didn't have to make any changes and just stuck with it through the 4 years.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing kind of your road to where you got to selecting your final degree studies or initial and sticking with it. Another question that came in is that many professors encourage students to take and pass the fundamentals of engineering exam. Is taking the FE exam and becoming an EIT valued at Rockwell? Do many of the engineers at Rockwell hold a PE license, and is that valued?
I can start with, go ahead, John.
Thanks. So there are many engineers that have a PE license at Rockwell, and it's something that's recognized. I don't know that it's necessarily going to get you kind of to the next level, if you will, unless you're going down a very technical path, which in that case it could. It's also seen a little bit more as industry specific, where you're having to sign off on government documents and design documents that have engineering sign-off requirements. On the flip side, if you're at all considering it, I would absolutely take the FE as soon as possible, because you lose that pretty quickly once you get out of school. I followed that advice, took it, passed it. It was a little bit of a pain, but it wasn't too bad. And I looked back 2-3 years later, I was like, I'm not entirely sure how I would pass that right now, because you just lose so much of the detail. You have a really good grasp of the overall concepts, but you have to do a lot of brushing up to get down to the detail where you're actually performing the calculations and applying the high level concepts. So I'd recommend taking it if you're at all considering it, just so you have in your back pocket if you want to go down that path. It'll make it a lot easier in the future. At Rockwell specifically, people have it, but it's not something that's going to, in my opinion, make a huge difference unless you're going down a very technical path. In that case, it may.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to add on, I don't see many people using it on like a day-to-day basis in my business unit, but that's because, we don't sign off on electrical documents or whatnot because we're focused on firmware. So not exactly in line with it.
I'll try to put numbers behind it, but again, it's just one business unit, right? So zero people on my team have the PE license, 0 in commercial, but a handful in development. So maybe 3 engineers have it out of about 15 or so development engineers.
Great, thank you again. I have one more question that is currently in the chat, so I'll kind of do a last call for questions because I certainly want to be mindful of everybody's time today. So last call. And the next question is, what types of software are the mechanical engineers utilizing at Rockwell? At UWGB, the engineering professors emphasize MATLAB and analysis software such as ANSYS. Do engineers at Rockwell use these software or any analysis software like these?
I'll start on our team for MATLAB, or within like the MATLAB suite, we use Simulink. So we use some of those, or that tool, to do some motor control algorithms. And that is, yeah, so those are electrical engineers or computer science or computer engineering by trade individuals. And they're working, yeah, with MATLAB Simulink. So they're not mechanical engineers, but yeah, they are using that. So it's a team of about 6 people in development.
Okay, and then we're very big on 3D modeling software as well. So Creo, I think we used at UW Milwaukee, but whatever your university teaches transfers very well. So the concept of constraining and assembling, things like that, 3D modeling software is another great thing to know.
I will say, just from a general perspective, some teams out there will use MATLAB, some will use CAD. I mean, we use such a variety of different languages and tools. It really depends on like where you land and the team that you're working with. But there will be, I think, like Leanna said, that it's a lot of like understanding the principles for us as well. You know, on the software side, if you know one language, you can probably learn a variety of others, and a lot of those like same learning skills will transfer over. I don't think I saw any more questions in the chat per se, but I did want to ask if Chelsea or anyone else wanted to speak to how COVID impacted Rockwell as a company and our business. And we've got a huge supply chain organization, and when the world shut down, like what, you know, how did that impact us and what did we do?
Sure. So from a COVID perspective, and with regards to the supply chain, and not just Rockwell supply chain, but worldwide, as we started to see passenger flights being canceled relative to trying to stop the transfer of COVID, what that did is take out of the market a lot of space for product. So you don't always think about it when you think about passenger flights. You hear that you can't necessarily get a passenger flight to China, but I don't think what comes to the forefront is that a lot of product moves on those as well. So that compounded with the fact that at ports, you're often running with, you know, half the staff you can from a social distancing perspective, or there's been a lot of, particularly in China, recently outbreak of COVID at the ports for the ground handlers. Within the US, we've had a significant labor shortage of the folks that are actually at our ports moving the goods. So for Rockwell and truly for importers and exporters around the world, COVID has highly constrained the market space, which also in turn leads to increase in the rates. So we are seeing unprecedented levels of spend throughout the world on transportation, from both an air perspective and an ocean perspective. So for Rockwell, what we've really had to do is increase our relationships with the forwarding partners, so the people, the DHL of the world, or the UPS of the world, when you see that, to make sure we can leverage that relationship to get our product moving. You've also seen, and you'll see as reporting comes out from the market, that companies are spending more on logistics. Companies are spending, again, unprecedented amounts on logistics. So we've had to really understand our spend, try to make really strategic decisions on what products we expedite. Again, because we're paying so much more than we ever were. And find all opportunities to utilize different ports, different airports, as well as any mitigation to spend to still service our customers, which is our number one focus. Thanks, Sarah.
So many different challenges. But I think that I love that question and was really excited to learn about that from Chelsea, just because we do focus a lot on the engineering side of our business, but there are so many different ways to go within Rockwell. Omar, did you want to speak a little bit to the sales program? Because I think that's also not an initial choice for people with an engineering background. So what made you choose that program?
So for me, I interned previously as an engineering role and got exposure to sales after my engineering role and kind of saw the opportunity, kind of how to utilize a technical background in a commercial realm. And I think for me, at least, and a lot of other of my students I was working with always kind of wanted to get into the commercial aspect or the business aspect, I guess you could say, of certain companies. And for me, I thought getting into sales is a great way of kind of stepping over and being able to be exposed to that. And for many of our sales folk on our team and Rockwell, many of them are composed from engineering backgrounds, and it's valued very highly to have a background. And also there are some business majors as well. And for me, I realized, I always like to interact with our customers and interacting with our company. And it was a great way to kind of realize the focus I wanted to do going forward. And joining the sales training program is something that I'm very thankful to be part of. I wasn't a previous intern, and I'm kind of really jealous of the other interns and kind of hearing more about their experiences. And so far it's been great. I'm actually, going to different customers in person, joining some great virtual calls. Later this month, I'll actually be going out to Nevada for an expo and meet another sales trainee. So we're doing a lot of great things and working together while I'm still learning and developing myself. So.
Many fun ways I think that's what I love about Rockwell, and what I have just been so impressed with, and really what you get out of a larger company is just such a variety of opportunities and a variety to apply your skill set in a very variety of ways, and really to grow that skill set and then be able to say, you know what, this team is missing this, and I would love to come in and help with that, or I have such an interest in that. And I love the complexities that we're dealing with. COVID has thrown a lot of curveballs, but just working in a global company brings a lot of great different perspectives and complexities that you don't always get to think about. So many ways that you can be a part of Rockwell.
Thank you, Sarah. And that's something I've had the good fortune to work with Rockwell my entire career at UWM, and can't thank Rockwell enough for its partnership and for the time that you've spent today. One final question for everybody. We'll kind of do this like lightning fast, just because I think it might be something fun for the students to hear. If you could give a college student one piece of advice today, what would it be for them to be successful?
I'll start. So there's about 3 terms that keep coming to mind for internships and just overall in work life is stay curious, stay reliable, and stay proactive. So
that's a good one.
That's what I would say.
I'll go just the simple route in college. If I could go back and tell myself or tell my siblings, I would just say go to class and know your professors. If it's very helpful to be more than just a face in the crowd, right? When you're looking for letters of recommendation, or maybe, you know, you're just kind of on the cusp of a letter grade and you want to have a bump at the end of the semester or something like that. If they know you on a personal level, it is helpful. So interpersonal connections are really, really important.
I would definitely echo whatever one of my colleagues here at Rockwell have said, and just ask questions. And I think Brittany said I'd be curious, and just focus on your communication as well, which what Leanna said, but be it with your professors, be it with your professional network, hone those skills, those networking skills. It can be uncomfortable at first, but it's well worth it. So keep asking questions, keep trying to connect.
Something that I've been told is, you know, I guess a few words is, you know, why not you? You know, I think in terms of looking at certain positions or different companies you would like to apply for or so on and stuff you want to do is kind of be okay with, you know, making that step or believing in yourself. And I think, you know, you can really apply that in your undergrad studies and elsewhere in the career, and kind of just believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to apply or reach out to someone, or, you know, email one of us for more insight. I think that's something that, and I wish someone told me earlier in my college, and I'm excited for hopefully many of you to apply for Rockwell and hopefully be part of our team.
And I would say, since this is kind of geared towards internships and early career, start having those conversations about your career and about jobs and roles and interviews early, and have a whole bunch of them. Just because you have one conversation with one company doesn't mean you're committed to them. The more conversations you have, the better you'll get with it, the more comfortable you'll get with what you're saying yourself, what you're looking for, and how the conversation is going to go with recruiters or people at the company. So it's kind of the practice makes perfect, but I don't take yourself too seriously. If you fail, learn from the failure. If you mess up, who cares? Learn from it and move on. But just go do a whole bunch of it, and you'll learn quite a bit, and you'll be better off for it.
Yeah, I would really echo what John said. I practice all the time, and there's something to just practicing. But I think my piece of advice would be get on LinkedIn, get on Handshake, use your resources, because we are using those. I am on LinkedIn, and not only am I searching and finding all of you on LinkedIn and Handshake, I'm posting resources. I'll post interview tips. I'll post sessions, resources that you can read up on, ways for you all to help take yourself to the next level and be successful as we put you through this process or as you enter internships. And so get on there and be involved. And the second thing I would say is be involved while you're in university. Take advantage of that time to be in clubs, to do community work, to apply yourself outside of the classroom. All those things are really going to mean a lot to us as we get to know you and your journey.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Again, thank you so much to Rockwell Automation as a company overall for being such a great partner and for sharing in today's track. I'd like to thank you, Sarah, John, Omar, Chelsea, Leanna, and Brittany for sharing your experiences and sharing your stories with students. I think that certainly we've all learned a lot today, and I hope students that you will join in on next week's career track. I would like to thank my colleagues that are working on the career tracks committee. They're a great group of folks. All of my colleagues in the UW System Career Services offices are fantastic students. Please make sure that you are seeing your career services folks early and often. We're here to help you out. Would also like to thank President Tommy Thompson from the UW system for his support of this initiative. This recording will be posted on the UW Career Tracks website, which remember is on the UW River Falls website. by Monday. So again, thank you everybody for spending some time with us this afternoon. Go ahead and make it a great day.